By 2001, Lakeview on Kingsmere Boulevard had run out of space, and we started planning for a new facility. Over the next 3 years, more than 1,200 people were attending weekend services, and over 500 were meeting in small groups and support groups. Power Hour Children's Ministry had close to 300 attending each week. Junior and senior high ministries were flourishing, and the whole church was pursuing its mission: Lakeview, finding, maturing, caring. Mark Jacobson was involved in leadership in those years. He remembers.
So Pastor Dean Angel, he had a tremendous gift of evangelism. So he provided the vision, he provided the momentum, he provided the energy, and people followed. It was growing quickly, and administration in any organization that grows quickly is a challenge. I think around 2003, the board and pastors began looking at the Carver model of board administration.
Dave Scott was the chair of the facility planning team. He writes, "It was a large undertaking, and we knew Jesus and prayer would need to be at the center of all discussions and decisions. There were times during our committee meetings that we would stop, and Mark Jacobson would lead us in prayerful requests before God."
Claudio PRIOLO was very significant in his role as administrative pastor in getting this building built. I think he felt a call, and we certainly felt he had a call to do for that very purpose.
Claudio recounts, "As I reflect all these years later, I can clearly see God's hand on the church. My work involves securing financing and working with Larry Plett, owner of the construction management firm, to build the new church and moving the church into the new facility in 2006. And here we are, with a facility of 60,000 square feet, beautifully decorated spaces for children's ministry and youth ministry, and so much more. Alana and Jim Hendry no longer had to pack and unpack their bookstore every week. We had a beautiful new chapter and verse bookstore and a well-furnished cafe for Sunday morning coffee and snacks, as well as meals for special events. The auditorium, with theater seating for over 700 people, provided ample space, so we needed just 2 services to accommodate our church family and guests. But the move brought challenges. Now we were outside the city limits with no public transit access, so we needed to find innovative ways of doing ministry. We began to serve the city by going out to meet the needs of our neighbors through our growing care ministry. We partnered with an inner-city church for clothing exchanges and delivered food hampers each Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving. Still, there were people coming to faith, experiencing the transforming work of Jesus in their lives, being baptized, and finding places of service. However, the staff and leadership were feeling the stress and exhaustion of all the changes and challenges. In 2008, Dean Angel and his family moved to Michigan to pastor a Free Methodist church there, and we entered a period of transition with Dennis CAMPLIN and Bob Opperman. In spite of the challenges of this decade, we were becoming a more prayerful people. We had 24/7 prayer initiatives, Pray Through May, 30 Days of Prayer, prayer labyrinths, classes on listening prayer, and altar prayer ministry. God brought us through. In 2009, Reverend David Barbour and his wife Jackie arrived. Along with Randy Miller, they served Lakeview as our leadership team for almost 3 years.
I was only at Lakeview for 3 years, but I wouldn't have traded them for 20 years anywhere else. The friendships and the memories, like for instance, the day my brother came out to preach and he was wearing one of the Hawaiian shirts that I like to wear and a skin cap. Or my amazing staff that we had, who taught me and challenged me to become a better leader. But mostly I'm honored to have played a small part in the heritage of faith that Lakeview has modeled for the city of Saskatoon. Generation after generation of faithful kids, women, and men, all following a trajectory of grace towards an intentional, authentic, intimate relationship with Jesus.
After Dave returned to Kelowna, Mark Leppington helped us through the transition period, and then he became our lead pastor in 2013.
We want you to know that during our 6 years together, you inspired us as a church. We were touched by your genuine love for people and your willingness to come alongside the weak and the vulnerable and the hurting. We were impressed by your resiliency and your determination through hard times and your courage to take risks to do the work that God put before you. We also experienced a place that was like family, that was easy to attend, where people could explore their faith and find Jesus among those who genuinely cared about them.
Joe MANAFO came on staff as teaching pastor. Together, Mark and Joe became our senior management team, with Joe's preaching and teaching gifts complementing Mark's administrative ones. We were sad to say goodbye to Mark and JONI in 2018, but grateful to have Joe move into the role of lead pastor. Curtis Anderson stepped up from student ministries to take on the position of executive pastor. We have an excellent staff and numerous volunteers serving in age-level ministries and on worship teams, leading small groups, and much, much more. Truly, God has led us through 100 years of faith, and we give Him all the glory. Stay tuned for our next video, outlining Lakeview's local and global outreach since 1921. Although methods changed over the years, our mission has remained.